We have some breaking news. First here on Denver 7 News at 5 a.m. Douglas County Schools has its new leader. The board picked Aaron Kane as their next superintendent. We'll hear from parents about the choice.
Marshall Fire victims are finally seeing some movement. Boulder County is moving forward with its contract to get the debris removal process started.
And 3 women bravely made their journey out of war-torn Ukraine to Colorado. Now they are sharing their stories as President Biden prepares to issue another round of sanctions against Russia.
We also have breaking news from New Orleans. At least one person is dead and several are injured after a tornado struck parts of that city. This is a live picture where you can start to see some of the damage. We're waiting for daylight photos still of this devastation. The storm system that struck New Orleans is now heading east. You can see the clear shape of the storm from cell phone video. It caused widespread damage across the city's lower 9th Ward and St. Bernard Parish. Those were 2 areas devastated by Hurricane Katrina back in 2005. And this is the same storm system that led to at least 40 reported tornadoes Tuesday across Texas, Oklahoma, and Mississippi.
Wow. Our thoughts are certainly with those in the southeastern part of the country, and I'm sure some Colorado organizations will be mobilizing to help. Back here at home, though, as we take a live look from our mile-high camera, much calmer conditions over downtown, and a warm-up is on the way.
Let's bring in Lisa Hidalgo. It is going to be gusty here today again, Lisa. There were times yesterday when I didn't know if it was snowing or if it was just stuff blowing in the air from that wind.
Yeah, a little mixed bag yesterday, but yeah, we are going to be, and we were on the western edge of that storm where we saw the winds and the snow, and you can see it now stretching up into the Great Lakes, and then some of the rain showers on the severe weather that could pop up again there on the east side of it. But yeah, skies clearing out here. Still windy though. It's a big storm and there was a lot of pressure change with it. So we're going to see still some windy conditions today as that storm continues to move out and east. Right now expecting upper 40s, close to about 50 degrees here by noon. And then we'll be in the mid to upper 50s this afternoon. It's going to be a pretty pleasant day. The winds will still be an issue though. We're looking at gusts upwards of around 50 to near 60 miles per hour, especially south of Denver and then east toward Lyman and then south from there toward the Springs. So that I-25 drive, Jason, south of Denver is going to be probably a pretty tricky one. Also east on I-72.
Yeah, and this is that area right here over Monument right now where you can see that the conditions look okay if you're just driving around, but you will feel those strong winds that Lisa was just mentioning. So if you're driving any vehicle with some size, you can be blown around some of the lanes, and some of that snow that's still on the sides could be blown across and make it a little bit slick in spots. Take a look at the drive on I-70 here across the east side of town. So this is the eastbound side heading on over to the new lowered section, and that looks okay for now. I saw them picking up some of the last day of the overnight construction. Take a look out to the east side of town where we have a crash reported at 3rd and Colorado Boulevard, north of Alameda, north of 1st Avenue. So it's going to cause you some slight delays, but very light traffic right now on Colorado Boulevard. The rest of the drive looks just fine anywhere you want to go, including down to the south side of town.
Well, breaking overnight, Colorado's 3rd largest school district has its next superintendent. In a 4-3 vote, the school board named Aaron Kane as the sole finalist. Denver 7's Colette Bordelon joins us live. And Colette, the board is also making decisions about how to handle an ongoing lawsuit.
Yeah, Nicole, in that same meeting where they voted to hire Kane as the next superintendent, they also voted to hire a team of attorneys prepping to potentially fight a lawsuit related to open meeting laws regarding the controversial firing of former superintendent Corey Wise. Now, Kane has had certain communications with school board members before Wise was even fired. His attorneys are looking for all communications within the district related to Wise. Now, right now, Kane is the executive director of schools for American Academy, a public charter school with 3 campus locations. She also served as the interim superintendent for the Douglas County District from 2016 to 2018. At the beginning of the month, during her public interview, she pledged to execute the will of the board, change the culture of the district, and empower teachers. When the new majority on the school board took over, there were allegations their decision to fire Wise was politically motivated. Protests in support of Wise by teachers, parents, and students swept through the district, but Kane says she doesn't see the need for political parties in school leadership.
We can't change the conflict that's in our world or in our country, but I think we can work right here in Douglas County if we all work together to listen to each other, understand each other's concerns. And I would be privileged to lead bridging that divide. I do think we can absolutely bridge the divide and move forward for the thing that we all have in common. Our common cause is and always has been our students.
Still, we talked with parents who aren't happy with the board's decision, especially the way they say they went about it. Some of them say that's not a life lesson they want to instill in their own kids.
I'm not as confident in her ability to run the school district in the long term as I would be with the other candidate.
Kane was going up against Danny Windsor. He was the executive director of the Parker region for Douglas County School District. Ultimately, Kane beat out Windsor, but some school board members argued Windsor would have been the less divisive choice. Live this morning, Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
Thank you, Colette. People in Boulder are taking time to pause and reflect this week on the 10 lives lost at the Table Mesa King Soopers 1 year ago. Yesterday's remembrance ceremony included this in Boulder's Central Park. One of the attendees was Olivia McKenzie. Her mom, Lynn Murray, was filling an Instacart order when she was shot and killed inside the store.
I think this, and I think a lot of people affected by this, we all just find ourselves coming back to the feeling and that we just never knew this could happen. Like, we had no idea. There was no gut feeling. There was no intuition. This just took our breath away. This like punched us in the gut.
There was a separate memorial at the Boulder Police Department to honor Officer Eric Talley. He was killed responding to the shooting. Congressman Jason Crow and Joe Neguse also attended. The service included a final radio call to Officer Talley. Officer Talley's patrol car had been on display at the Boulder Police Department since last Friday, and it was adorned with flowers, cards, and messages of hope.
Almost 3 months since the Marshall Fire destroyed over 1,000 homes, Boulder County has finally approved the contract with a company to clean up debris. Denver 7's Christian Lopez joins us from our newsroom. And Christian, originally debris removal was supposed to start March 1st, over 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, Nicole, it was, and we know that people have been waiting for this so they can finally start to rebuild. And Marshall Fire victims can soon expect to see arborists, inspectors, and other staff getting their properties ready for this cleanup. And this work will take about 1 to 2 weeks before heavy machinery moves in to clear everything out. And once this program starts, it will last about 4 months. Commissioners also approved a recommendation to bring in another company, Denver-based Tetra Tech, that will perform soil sampling after debris removal is done, so there are no hazardous contaminants like heavy metals on these properties. And if all goes according to plan, the main contractor, DRC, is still hoping to have this cleanup done by the end of July. And the contract total is around $60 million. Boulder County will also host an online community meeting on March 29th to answer any questions and scheduling. Live in the newsroom, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Thank you, Christian. In less than 2 hours, President Biden will depart for Europe to meet with world leaders about the war in Ukraine. NATO and European Union officials will attend an emergency summit tomorrow in Brussels. They're expected to announce a new round of economic sanctions against Russia. The president could also announce a permanent increase in the number of U.S. troops stationed in Eastern Europe. Overnight, Ukrainian troops celebrated a victory. They've reclaimed an important suburb of Kyiv from Russian forces, as well as control of a key highway. It allows Ukraine to block Russia from surrounding the capital. Senior U.S. defense officials say the Russian military has lost 10% of its combat power, reportedly 15,000 troops. Troops are also reportedly running low on food, fuel, and cold weather gear.
We are hearing the harrowing journeys of 3 women who made it out of Ukraine and are now living here in Colorado. The 3 sat down with Congresswoman Diana DeGette yesterday. Arena arrived 2 weeks ago with her 2 young children and had to leave her husband behind. Mother and daughter Katerina and Tetiana got to Denver about a week ago, and speaking through an interpreter, all 3 talked about the difficult decision they had to leave all they know.
It took them 2 weeks to make a decision, even though they lived every day with sirens going off and bombing every night. Even though they're here in safe and warm place, but they don't feel safe because the country is in the war.
We, of course, welcome them here. Fortunately, all 3 women have family here in Denver to help them. Vail Resorts is on track to settle 5 labor lawsuits in California. How that deal could impact legal challenges here in Colorado.
And check out Russell Wilson in a Broncos helmet. We're talking to the new quarterback as he prepares for next season with his teammates.